Hey, everyone at YouTube, and welcome back to a new video with Rams and YT. In today's video, we're going through the promotions and relegations that happened last week. None of the midweek ones, bearing in mind, will be counted as per usual. In midweek, such as Needham Market, will not be included. But Birmingham City will do, and of course, commiserations to all relegated teams, and congratulations to all promoted teams. Gets out of the way with saying it every single time. Right, the first one, I've decided to strategize this one a bit more. I'm going to do all the ones and all the promoted ones, and I'm going to do it from tier 10 upwards. So the potential ones relegated could be Launceston. Launceston will now finish last place in the Southwest Peninsula Premier Division West, having picked up 18 points in 29 games. When I was writing the script for this video, by the way, no changed. And they conceded 81 goals during that period. Whether they are relegated is determined by the team. Relegated, Ronstown, possibly. Having just evaded the bottom three of the Spartan South Midlands League Division 1 last season, they will now finish in the bottom three and open themselves to relegation to a Northamptonshire combination. And having conceded 104 goals, it is of little surprise they are now at risk of a drop to the feeder leagues. Another team potentially relegated is London Colney. Already a surprise to still be at tier 10 is London Colney, who, despite finishing 21st in the Combined Counties League Division 1 last season, they were not relegated, but laterally switched to the Spartan South Midlands Division 1. They are continuing to struggle in the new league, however, having only picked up 20 points in 36 games, and so are yet again at the mercy of the FA. Relegated, Huntington FC. Or Huntington Town, sorry. A truly dreadful defence that has conceded 121 goals and a total of 22 points has seen Huntington Town exposed to possible relegation to Tier 11. Possibly relegated is Foley Mere. In the final day of the North West Counties League Division 1 South, Foley Mere were relegated, finishing 4 points away from safety. The fate was sealed with a 1-0 loss to Camel Laird on the final day. They are now open to the possibility of relegation to the Staffordshire Senior League, and I would say it is quite likely with so many feeder leagues to this tier 10 league. Possibly relegated is Bedlington Terriers. In a huge game on the 8th of April, Bedlington versus Sunderland RCA, the Terriers did lose that game 2-0, and that was dubbed a relegation 6-pointer. Albeit relegation wasn't confirmed with that match, but the momentum of Sunderland has seen them leapfrog Bedlington with one game to go. They'll now have 6 points off safety on 32 points and are now exposed to relegation. Albeit I don't think any team has applied from the North Riding League, so there could possibly only be 2 relegated from the Northern League. That remains to be seen. I mean, I went and had a walk through Bedlington at one point, and they've got a really nice ground, actually, Bedlington Terriers. I need to go and watch them for a game at some point. Possibly relegated, in fact, last of the possibilities is and New Parks. They have conceded 120 goals, the second highest in the league, which has had 5 teams concede more than 100 goals in this league, of the Midland League, that is, which is absolutely mental. Having been so dominant in the Leicestershire Senior League last season, they have failed to take this form into the league above and have left themselves exposed to being on the other side of the FA decision of promotions from Tier 11. Relegated GNG Oadby Town. Oadby will join Manchester Rovers in relegation from the United Counties League Premier Division South with a game to spare. With conceding 92 goals and only 27 points, they will now have to rebuild in Tier 10. Another team relegated from Tier 9 is Squiresgate. A 3-1 defeat to Pilkington sees Squiresgate relegated to the North West Counties Division 1 North with 117 goals conceded, a minus 50 goal difference and 28 points. Highgate United were also relegated, as Highgate lost 4-1 at home to Whitchurch Alport in a result that sealed relegation from the Midland League Premier Division. It sees Tividale scrape survival, and it comes as a bit of a surprise with Highgate competing in the playoffs of the Midland League Premier Division last season, losing 3-1 to Lichfield City in the semi-finals. I imagine it was a loss of a lot of players that caused relegation, and now they must challenge for promotion a step below. Maybe it might be one step back to make two steps forward. That remains to be seen, though. Another team relegated is Liversedge. It was a devastating weekend for Liversedge. They needed Bradford Park Avenue to win, but they could only manage a 2-all draw against Brighouse Town. Liversedge themselves could only manage a dramatic 2-all draw against Bridlington Town. It marks the second relegation in 3 years after being relegated from the Northern Premier League in 2022-23. Relegated is Sherwood Colliery. Sherwood Colliery's relegation back to Step 5 after one season in the Northern Premier League East was confirmed as Stocksbridge, who were chasing the playoffs, won 3-1 against Sherwood. In all honesty, the writing has been on the wall for weeks, but it is still a sad day for the club. In the actual game that saw them relegated, Stocksbridge did struggle initially to get a hand on the game. They have struggled to meet the standards of this level, Sherwood, and now they will do some soul searching on what to do in the final 3 games of this season, and then making plans for next season. Relegated Basildon United. A 1-1 draw with Witham Town condemned Basildon to relegation to the Essex Senior League, despite strong efforts to win the game. In reality, relegation has been on the cards for a while, with their 4th manager since the start of 2025 and a 23-game winless streak in this league. The 30th of March may have proved a crucial day, as 10-man Basildon lost 3-0 to fellow relegation battlers Wroxham. Not only has there been a managerial merry-go-round, but there's also a huge player turnover without enough players of quality to win games at this club. So, a bit of a stability is probably needed in their relegation. Another team relegated from that East Anglia sort of region is Lowestoft Town. With Lowestoft winning 2-0 at half-time, it looked like they may limp on for another day, but Bedford Town continued their amazing run of form in the Southern League Premier Central to win 3-2 at Lowestoft's ground. This result condemned Lowestoft to the Isthmian League Division 1 North. This marks the end of their first season back at Tier 7, having been promoted last season. But seemingly they were also relegated from this league in 2021-22. I suspect it won't be long until we see them back in Tier 7 soon. Relegated Hitchin Town. Hitchin Town's relegation from the Southern League Premier Division Central was finally confirmed after defeat at home to AFC Sudbury. Based on that performance alone, they don't deserve to play at this level, albeit only a 1-0. They never look like scoring in a congested midfield, taking half an hour to even have either side take the first shot of the game. They are now 12 points off safety with 3 games left to play. Another team relegated nearby me at the moment is Bedford United. 9-man Lions had relegation confirmed despite sharing the spoils with Morpeth Town. That marks the end of playing in the Northern Premier League, having spent the last 6 seasons at this level. This is because the owners taken a back burner this season and will continue to do so in search for new owners. And the managers who got them relegated haven't been blamed and are to stay next season. The women's team for Bedford are also relegated, so it's been a bad season all around for the Nottingham-based team. Relegated is Cross City rivals Mickleover. A hard-fought 1-1 draw against Hebburn Town was not enough with the looming threat of relegation a real threat for both sides. Having seen them twice this season, it is very obvious that they haven't been good enough going forward with a lack of quality in front of goal, seen by the pitiful 38 goals scored less than 1 a game. One of the games I watched was also against one of the weaker teams, relatively speaking, in the league, of Blythe Spartans. But the facilities and merchandise of the club are good, and I'm hoping for an instant return, whether they are placed in the Midland or East Division, and is yet to be seen. The final relegated ones is Rushall Olympic. Rushall Olympic's stay in the National League North will end after 2 seasons after relegation was confirmed with a defeat to relegation rivals Needham Market. The Picts were Southern League Premier Central playoff winners 2 years ago to ensure promotion to Step 2 for the first time in their history. But a battling campaign ended in disappointment for Richard Sneaker's side. It comes after last season's efforts to defy the odds and avoid the drop. An impressive finish in the end of 19th. With 3 games of a league campaign to go, the Picts can no longer mount an escape and join Warrington Town and Farsley Celtic in relegation. The Indian market, when I was writing this, were mathematically relegated, but are now having Radcliffe won last match, and we'll talk about Needham Market more in the next video. The Picts had gone into the contest 3 unbeaten, with 5 from a possible 9 points, so we certainly weren't down and out and beaten about it, but it's just poorness across the season. And they had to do a lot of ground improvements as well to stay in this league, so that may have divested some of the funds. Promoted, Hallen. Having taken the Western League Division 1 by storm with 92 points from 39 games and scoring 93 goals, it comes as a bit of an unexpectedly, with them finishing 9th last season. It marks a return to Tier 9, which they last played at in 2021-22. Another team promoted from that southwest region is Sidmouth Town. Sidmouth Town powered past their near rivals Newton Abbot Spurs, winning 5-1 to become Southwest Peninsula League East champions, with 2 games left to play. Wild scenes punctuated by green smoke follow the final whistle, and fans celebrate the highest level of football that Sidmouth have ever achieved, as they will be going into Tier 9 next season. Another team promoted is Hordern Community Welfare, a team I've actually seen play against Jarrah earlier on in the season. There were title celebrations for Hordern CW as they were crowned Northern League Division 2 champions after rounding off a historic season in style with a 2-0 home win against Alnwick Town. It could have gone to the final day of the season if it wasn't for a late drama as title rivals Yarm and Eaglescliffe fell to a late defeat to Darlington Town. The title has been the result of 4 years' hard work as the club came from a weird side league to the Northern League. Over the last 2 seasons, they've had to play a heartache, and they were determined to make sure it wasn't a third. And they have the Ernest Memorial Cup, which is like the Northern League Division 2 Cup, League Cup thing. Finals still to come. Another team promoted is Horbury Town. With the title coming down to the final day of the season, with 1 point splitting champions Horbury from second place Wombwell Town, and the top 3 all having over 90 points, it's just striking how great this league has been. Horbury have picked up 95 points and secured a century of goals and have won 30 out of 42 games, so they are rightfully promoted to the Northern Counties East Premier Division next season. This marks a second promotion in 3 years after promotion from the West Yorkshire League Premier Division was confirmed in 2022. Another team promoted is Real Bedford. Real Bedford's men and women have both been promoted in the same week. Real Bedford are celebrating a double promotion while talks continue about a possible merger with the town's other Southern League club of Bedford Town. The men's team clinched the Division 1 Central title with a 1-0 home win over Kings Langley. I think it was home win, it might not be. On Saturday, courtesy of a penalty by Joe Evans. The game was watched by cryptocurrency investor twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, who have invested about £3.6 million into the club. Owner Peter McCormack bought Bedford in 2021. It was called Bedford FC back then, and they changed the name to Real Bedford at the end of the season. He wants the town to have an EFL and maybe eventually a Premier League club. The men's team have now won 3 successive promotions under boss Ross Sinclair, but which league they play in next season will still be questioned, depending on whether there is a merger with Bedford Town, as Bedford Town are currently 3rd in the league, where Real Bedford would end up if they are unsuccessful in the merge, and Bedford Town could win the playoffs and get promoted to the National League. It might actually be the National League North because of how weirdly the leagues are aligned at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if I was a Bedford Town fan, I would personally not want this merger to go ahead, purely because it would be very inauthentic in a sense. One of them teams that it'd be like Wrexham merging with like the New Saints. and the New Saints then moving across to the English game, and then the New Saints claiming that they were the original team all the time, or something like that. Saying that now, Wrexham are probably going to be watching this video and be like, yeah, go on, we'll merge with the New Saints. A team promoted, we'll move on to another team promoted, of Cleethorpes Town. Cleethorpes Town have won the Northern Premier League Division 1 East, with currently on 88 points and the same amount of goals scored. They are 13 points clear of nearest challengers Dunstan, and for most of the season have looked likely to get promoted, to be fair. They have been at Tier 8 for the best part of a decade, so it remains to be seen whether they can adapt in the league above. Promoted, this is a vast of the possibilities actually, is Hartpury University. Just days after the heartache of missing out on a place in the FA Vase final, Hartpury University roared back in emphatic style to clinch the Hellenic League Premier Division title with a 2-0 victory over Roman Glass St George. This is the second title in as many years, having won the Hellenic League Division 1 last season in 2024. They have played like champions and waiting for most of this. The question is now over one thing, and that is whether promotion. FA do prohibit university teams going above Tier 9, but the precedents of Loughborough students having split themselves to a satisfactory degree to be promoted, it does seem that it could be the same done with Hartpury, but ultimately that remains seen and to the FA's discretion. Promoted New Milton Town. New Milton Town are Wessex League Division 1 champions after beating Hamworthy United 3-2 with a 90th minute header to win the title and promotion. The turnaround at Matt Mabry's New Milton Town has been nothing short of remarkable. Last season they finished in the bottom three and were not relegated due to possible sides being promoted and not being able to fulfil the league regulations. It was glaringly obvious that something needed to happen to bring a feel-good factor to the club. Some of the football this season, though, has been sensational. The last time the club was in the Wessex League Premier Division was 2012-13. After a proposed merger with Bashley fell through, they opted to relegate themselves instead. There is a large gap between the two leagues, so now preparations are being made for playing in the league above. Promoted AFC Portchester. AFC Portchester earned promotion into the Southern League Division 1 South as they won 1-0 away to Cal Sports. They are on 100 points, having scored 117 goals and only losing once. It's the first time they have won the Wessex League Premier Division after they competed in the playoffs last season, only to lose 1-0 to Shaftesbury in the semi-finals. Promoted Birmingham City. This is the final one of the video, and it's probably one you've all been waiting for. Birmingham City are League One champions after Wrexham failed to win against Wigan Athletic. Blues secured promotion in midweek with a 2-1 win at Peterborough United, and a goalless draw for Wrexham means Birmingham lift the league title for the first time since they won the second division in 1994-95. The Welsh side were the only team capable of reaching Rhys Davies' side, who were not in league action as they failed to get a double as they lost to Peterborough in the EFL Trophy final. Wrexham didn't even register a shot on target. That 1995 season could have been almost identical to this one, as they did win the EFL Trophy that season as well. The triumph would seem to justify a £25 million outlay on transfers by owners Knighthead, who are also funding a new stadium to replace St Andrews, with the new ground being located only a mile away from St Andrews. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please do subscribe if you're new around here. I've got the predictions again next week. I've got the predictions for the Easter fixtures as well already on the channel if you're interested for that. And some point next week as well, we'll be discussing more promoted and relegated teams, and there'll be some playoff finals potentially decided by that point as well. But it's goodbye for now. See you later.